So we'll be talking about 4 points I'd like to cover today. And feel free to interrupt as we go along. And, first thing is an introduction. That I learned this morning. I learned the code of the morning. The guy told me a very nice word. It says, if you make yourself humble and show humility on your part, Hashem is going to pick you up and you're going to become very great. And the proof is from this week's parsha. And if those who remember, in Parshas Kisisa, of all the humans that were ever created, from Adam till the end of time, Moshe Rabbeinu had one unique feature that no other human being ever had. You know what that was?
Humility.
Pardon?
Humility.
Well, the Gemara says that Yosef had humility. No, other people had humility. Other people spoke to Hashem. Adam spoke to Hashem. Cain spoke to Hashem. Abimelech spoke to Hashem. What?
So we had one
attribute
that nobody
that
else
no other
had.
human had before him and nobody had after him. He was the only one that ever had that. What is it?
Asplakari Ma'ira?
What was that?
Asplakari Ma'ira.
Oh, that's when he come all this stuff.
Cheating.
Mikra, same with the pasuk of the Torah tells us. Koran Arpanov, his face shone. When he was there was a shine. In fact, Michelangelo had a poor teacher. The word Koran, they make sure Koran, it's a horn. So they split Moshe Rabbeinu with the horns. He never had horns. His face was shining. Koran is to shine. His face was shining. In fact, when Moshe Rabbeinu walked in the camp, everybody run away. It was this big, light coming from his face. So you had to put a masper, a screen, to keep that away. When he talked to Hashem, he took on that screen. But the Shkiach says there's a measure. What kind of screen did he use? Piece of bread. Piece of bread? Yeah, because the bread is lachris. Alechem levadi yichyodim. That represents the physical part of the world that we enjoy. So you talk about the physical, it blocks the ruchnius, so that shine of the sun was blocked. But okay. Now, we know that Moshe Rabbeinu had Koran or Panav. His face would shine more than anybody else. A special bracha. Where did that shine come from? Did Hashem make the yesh me'ayin from nothing? All of a sudden, good morning, you wake up one day, oh, Moshe Rabbeinu got up and his face is shining. No. The Gemara says that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote the whole Torah, from Bereshis until the end of Leini Kol Yisrael. Then it was also bracha. And Hashem gave him exactly the amount of ink to write. When he finished the Torah, guess what happened? There was a few drops of ink left. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, Hashem, what do I do with this ink? It's hektish, it's holy ink. I wrote the whole Torah with it. What do I do with it? So Hashem said, don't worry. And he took that ink and he put it on his forehead. So that shine that Moshe Rabbeinu had from his face was from the ink that was left over from writing the Sefer Torah. That's not my own. That's a Gemara. Gemara says that very clearly. Now, here's the kasha. How is it possible? Hashem Yisbarach is perfect. Can do anything and everything. How about you have 2 drops of ink left over? Hashem knows exactly how much ink you need. And he prepared the correct amount. So why is there extra ink left over? This week's parsha is the answer. Any Chumash nearby? Okay, thank you. So here's a Chumash for Parshas Vayikra. So if you look at a Chumash, if you're a Kohen, someone's a Kohen, you can see the Aliyah if you're on Kohen. Vayikra. Oh, there's something unusual with that aleph. What's the size of that aleph? Right, correct. It's a small aleph. Why is it a small aleph? Why isn't it a regular aleph? Hashem and Moshe had an argument. Hashem says, Vayikra, I'm calling you. Moshe Rabbeinu, come, you have to be kabbanis. Moshe Rabbeinu says, come on, I'm not ro'oi. I'm not worthy, fitting, thank you, to be called by Hashem, to be in the kabbanis. Use the word Vayikar, Vav, Yud, Kuf, Reish. Who else had the word Vayikar? Do you remember? Bilam. Right, Bilam was by Mikra. It happened, Hashem happened to bump into Moshe. Okay, come, let's bring the kabbanis. Hashem says, no, I'm calling you. Moshe said, please, it's not right. So what did they do? They had a compromise. We'll use a small aleph. You won't use a regular aleph, we'll use a small aleph. So this way, It looks like Vayikar, but it's not. It means raw because there is an aleph there, but it's a small aleph. That small aleph represents humility. It shows that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't say, "Oh, I'm the great leader of Klal Yisrael. Hashem is calling me. Here I come, Hashem." No, Moshe Rabbeinu said, "I'm not roy for that. I'm not fitting for that." So, although Hashem insisted you have to put an aleph, Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Okay, use a small aleph." But when you use a small aleph instead of a full-size aleph, what happens? You have leftover ink because you used a small aleph, not a regular aleph. So that leftover ink was what Hashem used to put on Moshe Rabbeinu's forehead, and from that it shone and he became the unique person in the universe who ever had his face was shining with light more than any other person. So you make yourself humble and modest and not, proud, you get tremendous gedula. You have tremendous greatness that you will be unique in that your face is going to be shining that never happened before, never happened either. That's a lesson for all of us. If you understand, I'm modest, good, because Hashem will reward you that you become great from that. That's an introduction. That's not the drush for today. So today's drush, again, I have 20 after time myself. 5 things I'd like to talk about. So I numbered them. You have the handout. Well, it says 1. Let's start with the 1. 1 comes first. 1 is on the Rashi. You see the Rashi there? It says, Adam ki yakim mikem carbon. I'll read it with you. It's passing ways. Kishiyakim mikabanis dava diberini. We're talking here a person who brings a carbon in dava. What does that mean? One day you'd like to bring a carbon to come close to Hashem. So clearly, when you bring this carbon, you want to be close to Hashem. Let's continue Rashi. It has to be yours. Ma Adam Arishan Lahikir Min HaGezel. Adam Arishan did not take from anything that was stolen. How do you know? Maybe Adam Arishan did steal to bring a carbon. Rashi says that's impossible. You know why? Why is it impossible that Adam couldn't steal from anybody?
He's the
only person there he's going to steal from. There's no one to steal from. Thank you so much. So that's what Rashi says. There's nobody else there. So Madam Rishon Lahikim in Gezel. Rashi explains. Shahakol Hoya Shalom. Adam Rishon is the only person there. So he's not stealing. It's his. The whole world is his. Don't steal. Someone is being big tzaddik. Oh, they stole money. I feel very bad about it. Someone who, try to make myself feel better. I'm being a carbon. Take the money, use it for a carbon. I'll donate it to a shul or whatever. No, don't do that. If you're stealing, return it. Don't take it out. And the Evan Ezra says a 1 there. See by Evan Ezra on your left margin, have a 1 there. Mikem. How do you learn Mikem should mean from yours? I could learn the pasuk. I underlined it at the very top right margin. It says, Adam, a man, ki yakiv, who will bring Mikem from you. Carbon Hashem. In other words, you have 600,000 men above 20, and a person wants to bring a carbon. It is a man from you who brings a carbon. What are we talking about? Gezel here. Stealing? Who's stealing? What's stealing? So Evan Ezra asks that question, implied, and he answers it. Me'uchar. He says 1 word. The order of the words is incorrect. Mikem, it's like a pronoun. From you. From who? So I can learn from you, from the people. You have 600,000 men. From you, be carbon. Or, you means from your possessions. You have to use your possessions that you are entitled to, that rightfully belong to you, never stole it. That you can be from carbon, not Gezel. And he continues, I underlined it for you. Mikem mimamonchem. Because if the word mikem refers to people in general, the Torah should have said like this: Adam mikem yakiv carbon. A person from you will be carbon. That's the correct sequence. Adam mikem yakiv carbon. What does it say? Does it say that? No. It says Adam ki yakiv mikem carbon. A person who will bring from you. What do you mean from you? From you is from the people. It should have said Adam mikem ki yakiv. So mikem means from yourself. My father Yerushalyim used to tell this story about this lady was in childbirth. She's having a very, very hard time. Though late in those days, they didn't have techniques they have today to help with the delivery, and she was really suffering a lot. In those days, when a woman gets married, she gets what's called a shter tichel. Shter tichel means a special tichel she'd wear with pictures of stars and gold and silver and everything. A very, very elaborate tichel to wear for special occasions, for weddings and things like that. And she said, "Oh, Rebbeinu Shalom, if I get through this delivery, the baby comes out well, healthy and well, my shter tichel, I'm going to give it to the shul." Oh. What do you think happened? The baby came out well, everything was okay, and so on. The baby was a boy, they had a zoch and embraced it, we did a man. After 2-3 months, the gabbai comes to her home, and he said, "You know, I'm so glad you have a baby, the baby's healthy, you made a shom zoch and embraced it, wonderful. But you said that you're going to give your shter tichel to the shul. I'm the gabbai of the shul, I'll be very happy if you give us the shter tichel." I said, "Oh yes, I remember I said that. I never had in mind my shter tichel. I had in mind that we give my neighbor shter tichel. The neighbor should give the shter tichel." So that's what it means, Mikem. You want to give carbon, it has to be your own. Don't take from somebody else. And Rabbi Schwab Zichar Tzadik Nebucha gave a true story that it happened. He was the rabbi of the shul, and he gets a call from the person. He said, "I'd like to donate $10,000 to the shul." "Oh, $10,000 to the shul, that's a beautiful donation. I'll be very happy to accept it. Come to my office." I said, "Sure." He comes. He said, "Wait a minute. If I remember correctly, you're in business, you're a successful businessman. About 5 years ago, you declared bankruptcy." I said, "That's true, I did. But what happened then?" "Well, we went to court, and the court decided that all I have to do is pay back 20 cents on the dollar, and if I do that, they're going to absolve me from any debt, and I don't have to pay anything beyond that. I pay that, and now things turn very brightly for me, and I'm very successful. I'm making a lot of money now, and I'd like to donate $10,000 to the shul." He said, "Wait a minute, what about the 80 cents on the dollar that you didn't pay back? What about that?" "Oh, the court said I don't have to." "No, the court said you don't have to. We have a Torah. And our Torah tells us, if you owe somebody money, you got to pay. Before you give the $10,000 to the shul, you know what you do? Take that money and pay back the 80 cents on the dollar you didn't pay back. Then we'll worry about getting donations from the shul." That's the pasuk. Adam Yaakov Mikem. When you want to give money to the shul, fine. Be sure that it's not something that you owe to other people. So that's item 1. Item number 2. This entire week's parsha and the parsha after, the whole string of parshas make a good deal about one major topic. That's a carbon. What is a carbon? Unfortunately, we have among us what's called Bible critics. They challenge the Torah. They say, "Why are you taking a lamb or a goat and slaughtering it in the beginning?" So what did the animals do? What did they do wrong? Why are you taking a carbon? What is the purpose of a carbon? So again, Rabbi Shram gave a beautiful explanation of a carbon. The word carbon means to come close. We have no concept what the Mizbeach was. The Mizbeach was an altar with a supernatural flame on that altar. When they would travel in the desert, you know what they do? They would take a coat of a goat skin, put it over the fire, and go traveling wherever they had to go. And when they reach a destination, they took off the goat skin. Guess what? The fire's still there. Did it burn the goat skin? No. Did it go out? No. When they were encamped at a certain place, and there's a hurricane with winds 100 miles an hour, the smoke went straight up. The smoke never moved. When there's a downpour and a very, very heavy rain, did it put out the fire? No. This is what you call a supernatural flame. As Rabbi Schwab used to say, this is a manifestation of the presence of Hashem. Hashem is showing you that I'm here. We have a supernatural fire here. And this shows that Hashem is present among us. So when you have this kind of fire, you don't want it to go out. So what are you going to do? You want to contribute to that fire that it should burn. Keep the piece of paper, it's okay. So in order to do that, we want to contribute to this supernatural flame, which is a manifestation of the presence of Hashem. So, ideally speaking, when you see that, you want to just jump into that fire. You want to use your body, let it be consumed by that fire. I want to contribute to this tremendous fire. But the Torah says, "V'chai bohem v'lo sheyamas bem." The Torah does not want us to die. The Torah wants us to live al pi Hashem, be al pi Torah. So we take an animal, and that animal is going to be our representative. And we stand and watch everything that happens to that animal. When it's shafted, and they take the insides and put it on the fire, everything happens, and you have to say to yourself, this is what's going to happen to me. Had I jumped into the fire, then my parts of my body and everything would be consumed by that supernatural fire. Hashem wants me to stay alive. Fine. This animal is my representative. And that's item 2 that I have at the bottom. It says Tami or Kabbalah. They underlined it. He says, this is a korban ola. And a korban ola is completely sacrificed in the fire. He said, Kitachli sa'ola, the purpose of the ola. I'm reading on your bottom right, it's underlined 2. Hiladabek, manishama, says to me also, you want to become close to Hashem. K'mosha ola, achamosa, tale, kulel Hashem. The korban ola is completely consumed by Hashem, by that supernatural fire. And it's you come one with this heavenly fire that's on the Mizbeach. Where did that fire come from? From the sky. You're not taking it aside and lit a magic, there's a fire. No, this fire came from heaven. It's a supernatural flame, and you want to be part of it. And you're the and therefore Mishah Yisana Eichel Hashem is Choveach Yichoach. So you are really sending a representative. That's the purpose of a korban. That you want to become close to Hashem, and then animal is going to represent what you would be doing. And therefore, it's a special union of a korban ola. It's completely kulal Hashem. It belongs completely to Hashem. And Sipporn also says that on the left. It says it 2 over there. Yaakov mi'atzmechem. You want to come closer to Hashem Yisparach. Why do you bring in korban ola? Sometimes you didn't do an assay, you had machshavas that were not appropriate and so on. We're not talking about a korban chova. Chova means somebody chas v'shalom did an aver that he has to bring a korban, like you call it Shabbos. You desecrated Shabbos, so he ate chaylev, whatever. No, we're talking about you did something that's a chayv assay. You didn't do a mitzvah assay. So you forgot to eat matzah, well, on Pesach. So in such a case, you will bring a korban ola. I want to come closer to Hashem because I did something that was really inappropriate and I cannot bring a korban. So this is a special thing that we talk about a korban ola. And the thing is, that when it comes to korban ola, a mummer, means somebody who does not believe in Hashem, cannot bring a korban ola. That's item 3. And I have at the very top left, I don't know if you can read it, I'll read it for you. Mubraya palche alili means shalom lekabel kavan min avodah avodah. The Jew decides to worship idols. And then comes to me something that, I want to be a korban, I did something wrong, I worship idols. I said, no, you have to first stop worshiping idols. You can't be a mummer and be a korban. And I can flip over the page, you can see now where this all comes from. This comes from the Torah's Kohanim. I have it 3 on the back. It says Mikem is Lahotzi Samomri. Mikem is I'm on the top line on my left. Mikem Lahotzi Samomri. That means that I'm not going to take a korban from. Oh, you don't have that. Sorry. You have my original. Okay, so Mikem is Lahotzi Samomri. That you cannot take a korban from somebody who is not keeping the Torah. Now, the Sifri asks, Mar Isa Lomer, you have the word Adam is Lavasamomim, and become Lahoti Sagerim. A ger you do accept, and a mummer you do not accept. Say the reverse. Say a mummer or somebody who's not keeping the Torah you will accept, and a ger you don't accept. So the Sifri says no. You have both a riboy of Adam and a miyat of Mikem. So we know that B'nai Yisrael Mekabei Bris, as long as they keep the Torah, they accept the bris A ger who brings the carbon, we take it with open arms. Please be the carbon of your choice and be happy to accept the carbon. That's a mumri, but if somebody is over and worship idols, we tell them, I'm sorry, you cannot accept the carbon. So here we see that special pasuk that tells you that we accept the carbon from the ger, and we do not accept the pasuk from the goy. Okay, from the mumma rather. Now, what is a mumma? Remember, a mumma is a Jew who was born from Jewish parents, but he does not keep the Torah now, and he's worshiping idols. Here's the problem. Item 4 on the bottom. It says over there, Ish Bnei Yisrael, who brings the carbon. That's the Parshas Ehrman, not in this week's Parsha, but we learn a special thing. Ish, it says beige. You see the beige next to the number 4? Here's number 4, and here's beige. I underline it for you. Okay, lama nema ish. Why does the Torah say ish twice? Lahavi es ha'akum, to include goyim. Shehei nodim b'nedarim yedavas Yisrael. A guy comes along and says, I would like to bring a carbon. What do we say? Of course, bring the carbon. So now the question is so obvious. Tartamima asks this question in other commentaries. You need a pasuk in this week's parsha to tell you a ger is allowed to be a carbon. If he worships idols, forget it. But if he's a ger, if he was born as a guy and becomes a ger, we need a pasuk to say you can bring a carbon. But over here in Parshas Ehrman, the same Torah's Kohanim says that a guy who never became a ger, a pure guy, he's not Jewish at all. If he wants to be a carbon, we accept it. So how can we even think that a ger should be worse than a guy? It should be what's called a kal v'chomer. If we accept the carbonness of a guy, certainly we should accept the carbon from a ger. So why do you need a pasuk in this week's parsha to say that a ger can bring a carbon and a guy, when we know that a guy can also be a carbon from Parshas Ehrman? So Rishwam gave a beautiful insight to this whole thing. What type of carbon are we talking about? Parshas Vayikra, this week's parsha is an ola. I just read it for you in detail. What does an ola mean? You take the animal and it's completely put on the mizbeach, on the altar, totally consumed. And you want to identify yourself with this supernatural fire that originally came from the Shemayim. It's a 24/7. It's a fire that's always burning and never went out. Whether the rain or the snow or the wind or hail, whatever. That fire is always there. You want to be part of that fire. The Torah doesn't want you to kill yourself, so send the animal, but you're going to sit by and watch whatever happens to the animal, what happens to me. Parshas Ehrman, we deal with different type of carbon. Dealing with carbon shlomim. Shlomim is, so clearly, when it comes to Parshas, in Parshas Ehrman, we say a guy can bring a carbon ola also. Because what does ola mean? I'm divorcing myself from all the pleasures of this world. I want to commit myself to Hashem. So after you have monasteries, goyim, they remove themselves from this world, pleasure and so on. They want to commit their life to Hashem. And clearly, this is an avodah that a guy can't do. But this week's parsha also includes shlomim. Shlomim is where you eat the meat. That's something that a guy cannot understand.
What is the parsha coming to? Which carbon is the parsha talking about?
So obviously, this week's parsha says the Dorim and the Dovers. The Dorim and the Dovers include shlomim.
What do you have shlomim for?
Because you want to be shalom, want to become closer to Hashem's work. I want to feel elevated. I feel that I really should be closer to Hashem, and I'm going to bring a carbon to be closer to Hashem. So this carbon, you eat the meat, but it all is completely consumed. So Parshas Ehrman, where it says that a guy can bring a carbon, that's only an ola, where it's completely dedicated to Hashem. This week's parsha is talking about Parshas Shlomim, where it's in the Dorim and the Dovers includes Shlomim. It says Beferish in Dorim and Dovers, because Shlomim, a guy has no concept of that. That you eat the meat, which is a physical enjoyment of meat, roasted meat, and through that you come close to Hashem. Like Korban Chatas, you shach the carbon, bailim ochlim, the konim ochlim, and bailim miskapin. The kohen eats the meat, and you get kapar for that. That is something that only the Torah is designated to eat. But goyim cannot be involved in that area of bailim ochlim, the konim and bailim miskapin. I teach statistics and marketing. There's a very famous theologian. His name was Thomas Bayes. I don't know if you heard of him. He lived in the late 1800s. And he came about that he could understand Hashem Yisparach through looking at the world. You have a tremendous seder in the world. You have astronomy, you have zoology, you have genetics, you have mathematics, you have chemistry and physics. How did those all come together in such a tremendous seder? Can't happen by chance. It must be there's a Bar Yolam. So that's called Bayesian statistics, went from the particular to the general of HaKodesh Baruch Hu. So Goyim can understand that there is a Bar Yolam. There is a Hashem Yisparach here. But Torah they don't have. That's what the Gemara says. Chachma b'Goyim tamin. Chachma means the way to realize that there's a Hashem Yisparach. Tamin. You have to believe that the Goyim can come close to Hashem. The Yisra discovered Hashem on his own. So the Goyim can bring karbanos, the carbanola, but it has to be completely sacrificed to Hashem. The fact that you can bring a carbon and you enjoy it, that's reserved for Klal Yisrael. So this week's parsha says that Ger can bring a carbon in a pasuk to tell you, because this Ger, his parents are not Jewish at all. So I would think maybe he cannot bring a carbon shlami. The answer is, since he's keeping the Torah, that he can bring a carbon shlami. But a Jew who's not keeping the Torah, he cannot bring the carbon. The Hotzi Samum, we exclude that. And let me just close it. That's what Rabbi Schwab said when it says Chachma b'Goyim Tami. The word Tami means you believe. You have to have a munah. You don't see it. When you Chachma b'Goyim Tami, when you need a munah to see that Goyim have Chachma. Look outside, the cars and planes and all kinds of inventions and computers and everything. It's all tremendous Chachma. You don't need a munah to see that there's Chachma b'Goyim. So Mishab said the word Chachma b'Goyim does not mean intelligence or ability to come up with inventions. Chachma b'Goyim means that Goyim can understand that there is a Bar Yolam. The Goyim can come to the realization that Hashem is the creator of the world, and they can do that. And Goyim, the Hasidim, the Ramal, Haba, and so forth. So they can all come close to Hashem. But they are divorcing themselves from the Tanugim, from the pleasure of this world. That's the Korban Olah. Korban Olah they can certainly bring. But a Shlamim, you can enjoy this world and come close to Hashem through that enjoyment. That's the Torah will tell us. Thank you very much.